The Prime Initiative.
All right, guys, taking a deep dive into the probation department situation. We have been conducting interviews. We have been listening to your messages, talking to you guys on the phone. And I have to say, it is horrendous the shit you guys are going through. And the most aggravating thing about this is that everything is being swept under the rug. It's the same thing that's happening within the majority of every single other law enforcement agency in California, especially that of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and Los Angeles Police Department. It's almost as if, and this is a message for all of you guys. It's almost as if everyone is siblings, right? Imagine this. You guys all live under the same house, which is Los Angeles. Probation Department has their own room. LAPD has their own room. LASD has their own room. And every single one of you is saying something like, metaphorically speaking, saying something like, oh, well, the internet doesn't work. Every single one of you guys are saying that. What do you think would be the smartest thing to do in that situation? Well, instead of yelling across the room, hey, the Wi-Fi is down, and then somebody else from another room, hey, what's wrong with the internet? How about everyone come together and fix the problem, right? So everyone can be happy. Everyone here, we're all brothers and sisters in this department, in this county, right? It is time to band together to assist one another. That is the beautiful thing about law enforcement, right? This whole brotherhood, right? This is the rhetoric that all of you guys state. The brotherhood, right? It's protect your partner. But are we really protecting ourselves? And in speaking to the majority of you, I have a vast, diverse amount of conversations that I've had with these people. And there's some that are just started. There's some that have been there for decades. And all of you guys say the same thing. So let's take a quick deep dive. And now I'm going to refer back to the public, guys. So look, us public, us civilians, okay? We have a tendency not to act or say anything if it doesn't really affect us. And that's a problem, right? The majority of us don't know what it means to go confront a bad guy, or don't know what it means to answer to a call where someone's getting their ass kicked, or a wife is getting beaten by a husband, or vice versa. The wife is beating up the husband. No one, the majority of us don't know that, right? The majority of us also have this particular understanding as to juveniles. We think, again, going back to the other video, that juveniles are like these cute little guys or boys and girls, with teddy bears, holding the Bible. And no, that could be furthest from the truth. There's some that are not like that whatsoever. But you guys, rather I should say us, we have no idea about it. Why? Because it doesn't go out there in legacy media, and particular people like the probation department can't speak their mind. It has become evidently so, right? The voice is gone. But who are the ones that are speaking up? The ones that are speaking up are the criminals. On that note, I do have to say, there was particular comments that were made pertaining to the sexual allegations that were transpiring in the juvenile department. Now, let me tell you guys this, okay? I'm not going to comment on something that is just hearsay or that is an alleged statement, all right? Especially when it comes to sexual misconduct. And let me tell you why. Reason being is because the majority of the times when it's been proven, you look at the news, whenever a particular criminal gets caught, here we go again, allegations just spew out. Oh, perfect example, the thing with the whole Trevor case thing. Trevor Kirk does a takedown on this criminal who just assaulted security guards and robbed a store. And all of a sudden, she squeals and starts to say, oh, I can't breathe, when clearly she can, right? It's the same thing when it comes to sexual allegations, especially in incarcerated areas. Is there some that could possibly be true? I'm pretty sure. And when that time comes, you better believe I'm going to clap that ass. But until then, I'm not going to comment on something where a criminal will just say, oh, well, he looked at me wrong and in sexual assault or whatnot. No, I'm not going to fucking do that. Kiss my ass. Here, what we're going to talk about is the legitimate shit that's proven and that are fucking facts, all right? Now, aside from that, I'm going to talk about let's get into this deep dive here. I'm going to show you guys this video from this show that was given to me through a link by a anonymous source here. I'm going to talk about that here real quick. Let's see if I can get into it here. Right here, the Mark Thompson show. Now, this particular individual, I love his voice, by the way. This individual is about to interview someone pertaining to the Los Angeles or Southern California Probation Department, right? Which could be Los Angeles or San Diego. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. This will give you a clear depiction as to what's transpiring with the juvenile halls. All right, give me one sec. Let's get into this here.
Who is a brilliant journalist, as I was telling you before, award-winning journalist. And the thing for
Sorry,
Mr.
Mark, we're gonna-
Intact, Courtney was very...
Okay, so before I get started with this, we're not gonna see the whole video, of course, because we don't do that here, right? I'm just gonna play some clips of it. If you want to see the whole thing, I'll put the link in the description below. All right.
be anxious to have you on because you are such an authority. I remember that now. This story that you have is out of Southern California, and it is bizarre, I think. Tell everyone what's happening with the juvenile hall there and how this entire situation has been turned on its side.
Well, you know, Mark, it's funny because this situation is actually happening nationwide in some form or another. And that's this sort of reformist movement that is creeping into the juvenile detention system. And for people that may not understand, typically county probation departments are charged with maintaining discipline and maintaining enforcement of the juvenile halls within a specific county. In Los Angeles, you know, one of the largest counties in the country, has one of the largest, incarcerated populations in adult jails and whatnot. But also it has a high number of juvenile incarcerated young people. And what we're finding out is because of lax policies on a local level, new prison reform and realignment plans on a state level, these kids now have become more empowered and they're getting more brazen. And these officers are getting the brunt of this violent outbursts and violent behavior inside these detention centers. Now, detention officers in the juvenile system do not carry sidearms. And that's by design for obvious reasons, but they typically have a baton maybe, or a capsicum spray, which is OC
Capsaicin.
and pepper spray. And so they have those tools, but because of reform movements now, they want to take that away from all of these probation officers. And here in Los Angeles County, that's a big problem because of prison realignment going on a state level. A lot of the criminals, very hardened criminals, are being released from state custody, and the county probation system has to absorb them. So now you've got 19, 20, up to 25-year-olds that have been in prison for a couple of years, blending in now with kids as young as 14 years old, and it's causing a big ruckus.
There you go. Said it. I mean, I could have said it better myself. It's a giant problem. And this is something that you don't hear in the news. You know, again, going back to legacy media, they have a particular narrative. They're going to push that. They're going to push that. That's just how it is. And who pays for it? And see, here's, again, going back into this discussion, guys, who's paying for it? Well, initially, it's the officers. It's the officers paying it, probation. The people in probation, they're paying for it. But then in turn, there's also this byproduct, right? There is this side effect with everything, you know, and half-life. In essence, the public pays for that as well. You got the probation officers and their families who are dealing with this particular situation. And then you have the public that's also dealing with it. It is not working out. That's the bottom line. It is not working out. Things are turning into dog shit. It's the same thing that's transpiring within the sheriff's department. You know, not so long ago, we had, what was it? It was was it 2 or 3? I forget. But there was a hardworking deputy sheriff from Men's Central Jail who got stabbed in the head. Or I'm sorry, was it the head or the neck? I forget. But he got jumped by certain inmates, and the uproar that transpired was ridiculous. You know, you have, as well as should be, because this whole soft on crime, soft on inmate bullshit isn't working out. It's not working out. And but see, you don't see it because you're not in there, right? And who's going to cover something like that? Is the news going to cover the simple fact that an asshole inmate attacked a deputy sheriff? No. You know what's going to happen? They're going to twist that narrative around like they have been doing. Thankfully that from what I gather, that deputy is doing fine, but it's the whole soft on inmate bullshit, the whole hug a thug bullshit. It's not working out. It's not working out. This whole California model that people like investigator CC Woods have spoken about. You have Trent James has spoken about it. The LA police applicant podcast have talked about it. You have people like Hector Bravo, a renowned lieutenant in the CDCR who is a YouTuber now. He's talked about it. In fact, that's the majority of his rhetoric. It's just not working out, and there is giant scandals in between that. It all revert back to money. Who's paying for it? At the heart of the whole thing, it's the leadership and the fucking board of supervisors. Okay, but we're gonna do this systematically. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start off with what's transpiring. We're gonna get into interviews, and then we're gonna get into the administration side of the whole thing. Trust me when I tell you, I have a lot of people to talk to, and the messages are a little overwhelming. But you know what? I do have to say, you guys are rocking it, and you guys are very, very vocal, and I love that. That's the first step to change. Keep in mind, you gotta keep fighting. You gotta keep fighting. Okay. Now I'm gonna read off some messages, and before I do, keep in mind I did crop out certain sensitive things like names. A lot of these are anonymous, so I'm gonna keep it like that. So it will be cropped out. I asked them what I can share pertaining to the messages, and they let me know. The same thing's gonna happen with you if you decide to let me know what's going on. But keep in mind, it's something that you have to have an understanding that if you want the message out there, you have to speak up. In the probation department, I got to say, I'm very impressed with you guys. I'm very impressed. In fact, you guys are speaking up more than what's transpiring in the sheriff's department. So, I mean, not to point fingers or anything, but this is a perfect example. Sheriff's department, you guys need to come together with your brothers and sisters of the probation department. You guys have a common goal. You have a common goal. All right. Let's read some of these messages here. Stand by. All right, here's the first one. I do have to share this one. I like. I like a lot. And she's right about this. FYI, the women of the probation department are bad bitches. That's awesome. There are often not. That's enough male staff to go around. Sadly. We handle that shit, but removing OC spray would definitely cause more of us to walk away. They haven't taken it yet, but they tried. No way most men can handle these young criminals who are the size of linebackers. Now you see, this is someone from the inside stating that, what we just talked about as far as how they're viewed as kids, but like they're the size of linebackers, and I do have to agree, going back to the female situation, when I worked with female deputies, there was a vast array of female deputies where I was like, man, you know what? I'd rather have them as partners than certain tubby men that were there all happy and fat and fucking, just complacent beyond all belief, and angry at life. There's I'm telling you, when women put their mind to something, there is no stopping them. And this one is right. There are a bunch of badass females, and I do have to give you credit on that end because you are in a particular male-driven job profession, and it can be very daunting and extremely difficult. But hey, you know what? The females are stepping up to handle business. That should teach you something, public. You got these ladies handling business. What the fuck are you doing? Right? The least we can do is assist them. In any way possible. Again, just because you don't see what's happening in the news or in a fucking movie or a television show, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's a clear indication right here. I have another one to read here. Stand by with this one. Gascon is gone, thankfully. He destroyed us and refused to charge these criminals for violent assaults on officers. Now everything is catering to criminals. Let's overfeed them with snacks, allow mental health to make excuses for them. That is true. I've seen that happen. So here's the thing. During the Biden administration, it's clear. I mean, I'm not going to get into that whole rhetoric, but I mean, come on. It's been proving the fact how he was soft on crime and all his bullshit policies just fucked this not only the Los Angeles County, California, and the nation, right? And then you have shitbags like Gascon, fighting for criminals, letting them go. You got these murdering motherfuckers, and then he just decides, oh, you know what? He was just having a bad day. He's free to go. What a piece of shit he was. What a piece of shit. But times are different now. Times are different, right? He's no longer there, and now things are starting to turn around. And it all starts with your voice. That's where it starts, right? So again, a taste of things to come. Again, we're conducting interviews. We're partnering up with other investigators, and we're going to blow the lid on this thing because it's something that needs to be said. And to be honest with you, I got to say, guys, you guys have been in the shadows for a very long time. A very long time. I have a friend, total badass guy, man. This guy, his level of qualifications, he was a guest on my podcast when I had it back then. By the name of Cross, and Cross, his skill set is just through the roof, right? And he lives over in the Midwest. He kind of resided there. He came over from the Midwest to come on the show, and I have to say, man, I was so impressed with Cross on so many different levels. And whenever I mention Cross, you're always going to hear me talk highly of particular people, and he's one of them. And he said it best. He goes, when someone says California law enforcement or California first responders or California cops, the first thing you think of is, again, LAPD or the sheriff's department. There's movies. There's this one badass one. One of my favorites, The Den of Thieves with Gerard Butler. I mean, that movie was well done. The part 2 was kind of ass, but that's a very good movie. I mean, how could you not forget End of Watch? You got Training Day. I mean, there's so many ridiculous movies out there pertaining to that, right? Now, one question that did come about was, hey, Prime, how come you're mentioning the movies and why is this such a prevalent thing? Well, think about it, jackass. What is it? Where do you get your information and your education from? 9 times out of 10, when it comes to certain people, especially the public, they get it from the television. They get it from shows. They get it from movies, whether it be fictitious or not. It opens up your mind and you start to kind of be curious as to what's happening, right? How many of you guys have seen End of Watch and you're like, fuck, that is crazy. If you're a citizen or a member of the public, you're like, fuck, that movie was something else, right? And then you talk to a law enforcement officer, right? Especially that of LAPD. What is he or she going to tell you? Yup, that fucking movie nailed it. Right? So now you become more savvy when it comes to the situation. Same thing with the sheriff's department. You speak to any law enforcement officer and the same thing comes about. They start to quote movies. They start to quote things from shows. And it's not your fault. That's the thing. That's just how things are. That's how people get their information now. If it's not on the television screen, it's on the computer screen. If it's not there, it's on the magical little device you have in your hand or in your pocket that you can't do anything without. But at the same time, what happens if that information that we're just talking about doesn't reach those platforms? Then you're not going to know. So the responsibility falls on the people that are dealing with it. You guys need to speak up and go forward, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. All right. So we're going to end it here real quick. I just want to give you guys that heads up. We are handling things. We are talking to people. We are conducting interviews. There is a podcast coming up soon pertaining to this. So stand by with that. But you guys keep up the good work, man. Keep up the good work. You guys are very much needed. And again, like always, keep fighting.
The Prime Initiative.